Hello and welcome to another one of my flight reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing Jetstar Australia's newest international service out of Australia on its inaugural flight between Perth and Singapore on one of the almost brand new 6-month-old Airbus A321neo aircraft. We're also going to experience what it's like to fly on Jetstar's most outrageously spacious seat with a few distinct drawbacks. Until now, Jetstar's international presence out of Perth has largely been restricted to Bali flights, but tonight's inaugural flight heralds an exciting new era in West Australian low-cost aviation. It's actually the start of just one of 3 new Jetstar Airbus A321neo services from Perth to Southeast Asia, and the establishment of a new pilot base out west here in Perth for pilots operating such aircraft. So without further ado, come join me and experience what it's like to fly on a medium haul flight with Jetstar on the A321neo in 2024. Hello, good evening and welcome to Perth International Airport. It's going to be a very exciting evening tonight. I'm going to be reviewing my second ever inaugural flight review on the Aussie Jetsetter YouTube channel. We're going to be flying on the first ever direct Jetstar Australia service between here in Perth all the way up to Singapore. Also become the 4th airline to service the busy Perth to Singapore corridor. Technically, in the past, Jetstar have flown between Perth and Singapore, but that's been via Bali. Jetstar Asia also serviced the route direct flights as well. That was before the pandemic. But yeah, this is the first direct service between Perth and Singapore with Jetstar Asia, which is really cool. It's also on the Airbus A321neo as well. So a very new aircraft, a lot more exciting than the old Airbus A320s that used to service the route. Tonight's flight heralds a really exciting new era for West Australian aviation, particularly low-cost aviation. It's actually the first of 3 new routes that Jetstar Australia are launching from here in Perth up to Southeast Asia. It's actually going to be the start of their brand new Airbus A321neo base here on the West Coast. So yeah, in a couple of days time, there's also going to be a new inaugural flight up to Phuket in Thailand, which is really exciting because it's the first direct flights between Perth and Phuket for quite some time now. Also in a couple of weeks time, they're also launching a direct flight between Perth and Bangkok, which is really cool, bringing it into competition with Thai Airways. Only reviewed the Jetstar Asia inaugural flight between Singapore and Broome only a couple of weeks ago. That was a really amazing experience. So hoping for the same tonight as well. So without further ado, let's now head into the airport terminal. It's a bit chilly out here on a cold Perth winter night. Get checked in, see if there's any fanfare being the inaugural flight. We'll go through security and immigration. And yeah, we should check out the Aspire Lounge as always here in Perth. And yeah, come join me as we head up to Singapore tonight. Should be a really cool experience. And before we head into airport terminal, let's have a look at the route information for an inaugural historic flight up to Singapore tonight. Gazetted flight time is 5 hours and 20 minutes, though we'll pretty well do it bang on 5 hours tonight. Great circle distance is 3,895 kilometres in a due north direction up to Singapore tonight. Tonight we'll be flying out of Terminal 1, which is the original and main international terminal here in Perth, home of all international services with the exclusion of Qantas, who actually operate their international services out on the old domestic side of the airport, where they've got exclusive use of Terminal 3 and Terminal 4 these days. So that means their flights up to Singapore and their mammoth ultra long haul flights to Rome, Paris and London actually depart from Terminal 3. In a nutshell, passenger traffic at Perth Airport has almost returned to pre-pandemic levels, looking at just over 12 million yearly passenger movements, of which about 1/3 are international. On to check-in itself, bit of a reminder that we are indeed flying a Jetstar today. Fortunately, no self-service, bag drop or check-in facilities here for Jetstar in Perth. Whether you're flying to Bali or Singapore, you're going to have to visit a manned counter, unfortunately. I got to the airport at around about the 2 hour and 50 minute mark before departure, and yeah, the check-in queue was really busy. Took about 25 minutes or so to be processed, which is probably a little bit quicker than I was expecting considering how big the line was at the time. Unfortunately, really didn't seem to be any fanfare whatsoever for inaugural flight. Did see some passengers, however, walking around with goodie bags, but yeah, I don't know where they got them from because they certainly didn't offer them at check-in, so that was a little bit of a mystery. Anyway, maybe there'll be a little bit more fanfare, perhaps some speeches and perhaps a goodie bag or two to go around over at gate 54 airside. So let's head up the all too familiar escalators now over to departures, clear immigration and security. And yeah, we'll also check out the Spire Lounge for some great plane spotting and a cold drink or two.
So we're sending you.
And just like that, we're all through outbound immigration and security. All very quick, easy and efficient here in Perth late on a Thursday night. Immigration, all you gotta do is slot your passport in the e-scanners. Only takes a matter of moments for outbound clearance. In terms of security, all very quick, easy and efficient as well. Got latest in CT scanners, so you don't have to take your electronics out of your bag, though you are still bound by the usual liquids, aerosols and gels regulations, so you can't take anything through more than 100 ml. Luckily, we don't have to walk far tonight to reach either the Spire Lounge or Gate 54, where our inaugural flight departs from, just to the right hand side of duty free once you clear immigration and customs. So here's Gate 54, about 2 hours prior to departure. Aside from all the Jetstar balloons at the boarding area, there really isn't much signs at all that it's going to be the inaugural flight tonight. So let's now head to the Spire Lounge and yeah, we'll check out all the fanfare, hopefully a little bit closer to departure. And just like that, welcome to one of my all-time favourite lounges, which is a Spire International Lounge here in Perth. More on eligibility criteria in a moment, but first let's have a look at the food options available tonight at the lounge. They're pretty well the same as a previous visit only a couple of weeks earlier, so I'll just use the same footage again. But for the hot options, you got the chicken abodo and Thai red curry. On top of that, you got some continental options as well, cold cut meats, cakes, salads, quite a good spread overall. In terms of drinks, you got a staff bar, so good range of house sort of spirits and wines. Also got beers as well. If you're a premium paying entry customer, you also got access to cocktails. My highlight of this lounge, as always, is the viewing terrace. So let's get a glass of sparkling now and enjoy some pre-departure plane spotting. Apologies about the poor quality footage, very hard filming here due to the angle of the windows and the light and the reflection, but very much peak hour here at Perth Airport late at night. You got the Emirates and Qatar A380s departing within about half an hour of each other, and you also got the Cathay Pacific 777 coming in as well. Be sure to check out my other international flight reviews out of Perth and also my website for a more in-depth review of this lounge. But in a nutshell, you can get in here with your priority pass, your dragon pass or your lounge key, or if you're flying business class with certain airlines. Paid entry is available. Online is a little bit cheaper, it's a fairly steep $75 however. Anyway, with great views from the lounge, let's have a look at the aircraft information for our Jetstar Airbus A321neo, which has the honours of taking us up on the inaugural up to Singapore tonight. So yeah, very brief history on this one, almost brand new in aviation terms, only about 6 months old at time of taking this flight, delivered direct to Jetstar back in December only last year, 2023. Registration on this one is Victor Hotel, Oscar, Yankee Delta. And just like that, all good times in the lounge must unfortunately come to an end, but it's a quick walk downstairs and we're immediately at our gate 54. So yeah, it's definitely quite lively around the gate now. Can definitely tell it's an inaugural flight. Definitely seems to be a few representatives from the company, but aside from that, there's really not much fanfare or goodie bags, unfortunately, for tonight's inaugural. There is, however, 7 News who are travelling on tonight's flight, covering it for Jetstar.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a pre-boarding announcement for passengers travelling on Jetstar flight JQ99 to Singapore. It is mandatory for passengers entering Singapore to submit a Singapore arrival prior to departure. If you have not completed this yet, please see staff up at gate 54. All boarding rows 29 to 39 first, then 19 to 29, and then 1 to 19. Also, could you have your passports open to your photo page with your boarding pass in hand for staff verification?
And just like that, sitting in row 29 today in an exit row C, that means I'm first aboard the aircraft, actually a part of the pre-boarding groups. That's really cool. Seems to be really long and winding aero bridges for flights internationally out of Perth here. And just like that, we are now at the start of the pre-boarding queue. Can't quite board the plane just yet. But nonetheless, I appreciate Jetstar's eagerness to board this plane and get it off on time. And just like that, welcome aboard the Jetstar Airbus A321neo aircraft. 232 seats in total on this aircraft in a one class all economy free configuration. In terms of seating, standard seats have a fairly standard seat pitch of just 29 inches, but this is marginally better than the original A321 that Jetstar operate. Once again, just like my first flight between Perth and Adelaide on the A321neo, once again I'm not sitting in a standard seat. Today we're in an exit row in 29F. Despite studying the seat map quite extensively, really wasn't expecting to get this seat. Probably has the most outrageous legroom that you'll find on any Jetstar plane, period. This is because there's actually no passenger seat in front of you, just a cabin crew jump seat that must be occupied for takeoff and landing. Even the other 2 seats to the left of me seem to have considerable more legroom than a regular exit row seat. In many ways, while it's certainly true that this is probably the best seat on a Jetstar Airbus A321s, especially in terms of its unparalleled legroom, there's obviously a few drawbacks. The first one that you'll probably notice is the real lack of any window view. There is a small peephole on the exit row door itself, but it's way too far away from me to actually see anything at all. There was still a window behind me, so I was able to get creative and still manage to capture the takeoff and landing, just a little bit in a different way. As I now show you the in-seat features and the in-flight literature, these are the other disadvantages of the exit row seat here at 29F. There is no fold-back tray table because there's obviously no seat in front of you. This also means that there's no USB charging to take advantage of. Another disadvantage is also fixed armrests in the exit row, so you've got a slightly reduced seat width. On top of that, you also got to stow your cabin baggage in the overhead compartment for takeoff and landing. You'll also be facing directly a cabin crew member for such periods of the flight as well.
Captain on the flight tonight. Joining me up the front is First Officer Sam Hollyman. Cabin manager Ash and her team are looking after you in the back. We're just going to start push back now. Flight time to Singapore is just on 5 hours and 11 minutes. Once we're underway, I'll get back to you with some details on our progress. Not to speak a bit more now, but they're rushing us off the bay, so we'll have to get underway. And once we're on our way, I'll get back to you. In the meantime, sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way soon.
Anyway, with no actual window beside me, let's head straight to takeoff now, where I'll play a bit of seat back gymnastics, try and capture some footage from the window behind me best I can. So yeah, enjoy this takeoff out to Singapore tonight, filming from behind me. And yeah, once in the air, I'll then go over the Jetstar A321neo service and what you can expect on this new flight up to Singapore. And just like that, we're well and truly on our way to cruising altitude of 34,000 feet for tonight's flight up to Singapore. First item of business tonight is to check out the buy on board in-flight food and beverage menu. Interestingly, tonight's flight is operated by a Singapore-based cabin crew, but it is actually still a Jetstar Australia JQ operated flight. So as you expect, it's got a Jetstar Australia menu. Good range of buy on board soft drinks and alcoholic beverages available, plenty of snacks as well and hot drinks as well. There's a few also hot meal options available on select international flights. Prices are pretty steep, however, especially compared to AirAsia. If you're on a flight from Perth to neighbouring Kuala Lumpur, you'd probably pay half of those prices. Aside from that, there's also a pamphlet for Jetstar's fairly new stream to your own device entertainment system. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But yeah, let's have a stroll down to the lavatory on today's aircraft. As far as I'm aware, there's one at the front of the aircraft and two at the rear. So pretty compact space A321neo lavatory, but it's got everything you need, also including a baby change table. Seems to be kept in pretty good nick, as you would expect for a very new aircraft, very short into its flight up to Singapore tonight. Now as we head back to my seat, let's check out the Jetstar Stream to Your Own Device entertainment system. As you can expect, it's not complimentary as we are on a budget carrier. A full access plan costs you $7 Australian, while a kids plan is more affordable $5. Both very reasonable prices indeed, very fair considering it's a budget carrier. I won't be watching any of their content tonight, as I've indeed downloaded quite a lot of content onto my device from Amazon Prime, but the good thing is you can preview what's available before you commit to buying. So yeah, surprisingly a pretty good range of TV shows and movie content. Would actually consider buying it if I didn't have my own entertainment. Despite being predominantly a paid service, there is a small section with free content. It's mainly promotional videos about Jetstar, but there is also a complimentary in-flight moving map. There's also complimentary games as well. So I really appreciate being able to see exactly where I am in the world on a Jetstar flight, free of charge.
Lovely morning shaping up, light southwesterly direction, southeasterly breeze is blowing. Temperature around 24 degrees for our arrival, looking at a top around 29 to early 30s today. And some scope of cloud about. For those that are interested, we're travelling on a pretty much brand new Jetstar Airbus A321 this morning. The planes are very new to us. They've got lovely new LEAP engines on them, which give us marvellous fuel efficiency and allow us to carry Singapore quite comfortably and even destinations beyond on these aircraft. I'll leave you alone now to sit
And just like that, the crew announced they're ready to commence the main in-flight food and beverage service today, starting with customers with pre-ordered meals and also in-flight meal deals and vouchers. I've got the Starter Max bundle today, more on the inclusions of that a little bit later in the review, but long story short, it gives me a $15 voucher. If you were to get a combo with a beer or wine with a savoury snack, that would cost you exactly $15, so perfect thing to claim this voucher on. So got a can of Byron Bay Lager with a small can of sour cream and onion Pringles. Pretty nice artwork on these Jetstar paper cups. First time I've actually seen them on a Jetstar flight, so that's really cool. So without further ado, let's pour out my Byron Bay Lager now. Not a bad beer overall, nothing amazing, but nothing too shabby either. And yeah, enjoy some of my own downloaded entertainment. And yeah, sit back, relax, and we'll enjoy the rest of our flight up to Singapore. So shortly after the main food and beverage service, the lights are then dimmed for everyone to get some rest on this overnight flight to Singapore. We're not going to get into just before 5 in the morning. So yeah, over the next few hours, not really much more to report from tonight's overnight flight. A few bumps along the way, but overall a very smooth flight. Also quite quiet indeed, the Airbus A321neo. A few hours later into the flight, in the dead of the morning, about 3:30 in the morning, and after many games of the surprisingly addictive 10-pin bowling that is on the Jetstar Entertainment app, we're now flying over the eastern suburbs of Jakarta. This is probably the only time on the whole flight I wish I was in a seat with a regular window, as the views over the sprawling metropolis of Jakarta at night time were absolutely spectacular. Still did see them with my own eyes, but were way too hard to film at such altitude from the window behind me. Anyway, an hour or so after passing Indonesia's largest city, we're now ready to commence a slightly earlier arrival into Singapore at Changi this morning. So without further ado, once again, I'll try my best to do some sit back gymnastics to capture what I can from the window behind me. So sit back, relax and enjoy, then I'll give my overall thoughts and verdict on tonight's inaugural flight once we're on the ground at Changi.
Welcome to Singapore Changi Airport Terminal 4, where the local time is approximately 4:55 in the morning. For your own safety and the passenger around you, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened, and this includes infant and children until the captain has switched off the seatbelt sign. We'll be embarking by the forward first left-hand door today. Please follow the direction of a Jetstar crew or ground staff. A reminder that smoking and the use of vaping and e-cigarettes is prohibited throughout this embarkation and in the terminal. Take a moment to check in your seat pockets and around you for any personal items before you leave the aircraft. Please take care when opening over a locker, as items such as water bottle may fall out. If your mobile phone is within reach, you may now switch it on. However, please do not unfasten your seatbelt to do so. On behalf of Captain and your entire Jetstar International Singapore-based crew, thank you for choosing to fly with Jetstar, and we hope to see you when next choose to travel. Thank you and good morning.
And just like that, welcome to Singapore Changi Airport. Only seems like a case of deja vu. I was literally only up here a couple of weeks ago covering the inaugural Jetstar Asia flight from Singapore to Broome. So be sure to check out that one on the channel as well, as it was a really amazing experience. So unfortunately with this flight, being such an early morning arrival, once again there was really no fanfare whatsoever for an inaugural flight. There was a few people handing out Jetstar carry bags, but apart from that, seemed like just like any other regular flight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyway, just like my recent Jetstar Asia Singapore to Broome flight, Jetstar flights here in Singapore operate out of Terminal 4, which is markedly quite quiet compared to other terminals here at Changi. Pretty only other flight arriving at this time of morning. Anyway, before we wrap up today's flight review over at Marina Bay a little bit later in the day, let me go back to the Jetstar Starter Max bundle and what I got for my extra money on this flight. So base fare was about $130. I paid almost $100 more to get the Starter Max bundle, but the benefit of this was I got a 30 kilo checked baggage allowance, also got a $15 in-flight voucher. Also get to select any seat on the aircraft, including the front bulkhead or the exit rows, which is really good. You get the outrageously good seat like I have tonight. And yeah, also get flexibility to cancel your flight for a credit, or you can change it with no change fares, just pay the fare difference. And of course you get a good dosage of Qantas frequent flyer points as well. Got 2,700 points for this flight alone. So in my opinion, if you are looking to travel flexibly and get all the extra bells and whistles, the Starter Max bundle really is the way to go. Do keep in mind, however, Jetstar recently have done a bit of a restructure of their bundles. Do think, however, consumers are a bit worse off now. I got 30 kilos luggage allowance with this one. Now you only get 20 kilos with the equivalent Flex Plus bundle. You also appear to unfortunately get less Qantas frequent flyer points now. Aside from that, all the other inclusions largely remain the same. I'll be keen to see next time when I fly on a Jetstar whether you do indeed pay less for this bundle, given its decrease in inclusions. And just like that, only about 20 minutes after disembarking our aircraft here in Singapore early this morning, we're all through immigration and customs, even bought some duty free along the way. Very easy and straightforward here in Singapore, super efficient with the e-gates, very much appreciated as a foreigner. And then it's straight out to arrivals curbside with luggage safely in hand. Get the Grab app out on my phone, which is a Singaporean equivalent of Uber. Only cost me about $20 to get to where I need to go. So all in all, super impressed with Singaporean efficiency from the time it takes to get off the plane, go through immigration, customs, collect your luggage, get in a Grab and arrive at my hotel, all within an hour of arriving in the country, which is just an outstanding welcome to any country in my opinion. And just like that, folks, welcome to magnificent, hot, steamy Singapore. We got in about 5 o'clock this morning, so was really quite tired, was really keen just to go straight to the hotel. I booked the night before, so I was able to check in straight away, which is good. Got to bed around 7 o'clock this morning, got up around about lunchtime. Feel reasonably refreshed, and yeah, we've gone down to the downtown core of Singapore today. Last time I really explored this area was on a weekend, so it was really actually quite quiet. But yeah, today being a weekday, it's really hustling and bustling. So that made for a really good walking tour as well. Also incorporated historic Chinatown into it as well. Anyway, we find ourselves down here on the Singapore waterfront. Obviously you can see that spectacular Marina Bay Sands behind me. So yeah, very quick visit to Singapore. We're going to be flying Emirates on the 777 down to Melbourne tomorrow. That's that 5th Freedom flight, so really looking forward to that. But yeah, back to yesterday evening's inaugural Jetstar Perth to Singapore A321neo service. Overall, it was a pretty good experience. I thought pretty low key for inaugural, but I guess that's not too surprising being an overnight flight. But yeah, for the price I paid, really hard to complain. The base fare was only about 130, 140 Australian dollars. I think I paid about 236 Aussie for the Starter Max bundle, so pretty well got the works, and yeah, that's really the way to go in my opinion. Yeah, really not too much to fault about the flight at all. Really good crew, pretty well left on time, arrived on time. And yeah, the good thing about the Starter Max bundle is you got all the inclusions you like. You get your 30 kilo luggage allowance. You also get a $15 voucher, which I just used for a snack and a beer. Also, can pick any seat on the plane as well. So I got 29F, which was an exit row seat. As you saw, this seat has absolutely outrageous legroom. Was not expecting so much legroom, but yeah, it does have its drawbacks. Obviously without USB-C charging. Obviously it doesn't have the tray back table that folds down from the seat in front because there is none. And yeah, obviously the window issues a bit of a concern as well. Could still get a bit of a view looking back towards the seat window behind me, but yeah, it's not really that great if you like a view. But yeah, for an overnight flight, I'm pretty happy to take it, to be honest. But yeah, for a daytime flight, if you are going for an exit row seat, this is probably not the seat to go. Also, a little bit, if you don't like being seating next to the cabin crew on takeoff and landing, also may not be the seat for you. But yeah, apart from that, it's the most outrageously spacious legroom seat you're probably ever going to get on a Jetstar flight. So you look at it like that, it's pretty darn good in my opinion. So all in all, very much a well worth it experience flying a Jetstar last night. Great to see a 4th carrier on the route now. More and more competition is always a good thing, so I wish Jetstar well. Hope they sustain the route long term, and yeah, really exciting to see those Phuket and Bangkok routes starting as well soon. So if you have enjoyed this historic inaugural Jetstar Perth to Singapore flight review that we did last night, really appreciate it. Do give it a like, leave your comments down below, and don't forget to share amongst your family and friends as well. All my subscribers and supporters out there, once again, thank you so much for your ongoing continued support of the Aussie Jetsetter YouTube channel. If you're perhaps a little bit newer to my channel and you do enjoy my content and you haven't already done so, really appreciate it. Do consider subscribing to the channel, clicking that bell and notification button on so you won't miss the next great flight review, such as my Emirates 777 flight down to Melbourne tomorrow. In the meantime, you also visit my website, aussiejetsetter.com.au for latest flight reviews, industry news, destination guides, frequent flyer hacks, and more. Maybe check out my dedicated Instagram page as well, Aussie Jetsetter Shorts channel as well. Check out what I'm doing around the world in real time. So from the spectacular Marina Bay here in Singapore, thanks so much for watching last night's historic Jetstar Perth to Singapore flight review. And until next one, safe travels, wherever that might take you.